What's up, guys? Today we're gonna make a space war type of game. So, yeah, let's get right into it. So, the game kind of works like this. You can just go sideways, the backdrop scrolls, asteroids fall, you have your score, and you have your life. Different size of asteroid, different speed, and everything. Yeah. So, yeah, let me explain you all the codes. Well, obviously you need a player sprite, which is kind of going to be a spaceship outlined white because, the backdrop is going to be plain black. And the code for our spaceship is just a basic movement code. We don't need anything else. Now, so when green flag is clicked, we want to broadcast setup so we could set up our game. And this is just a way so you can make your own menu because I'm probably just going to explain about gameplay in the episode. Well, I could make another episode of this game and I could make it into a series and create lots of skins, menu system, high score. We could do that if you guys like it. So if you guys like the tutorial, just leave a like in the description below. I'll check if I can make episode 2. It doesn't really matter now because it's episode 1, it's not 2, so yeah. So after you broadcast setup, you want to do when I receive setup. Go to, so when I start the game, the jet goes there. So it is at the middle of X, which is 0, and Y is definitely a low position because you want to be at the bottom. And then you want to set damage to 1. So let me just show you what variables I have. Damage for all sprites, life for all sprites, scrolling for all sprites, score for all sprites. And when you go to the asteroids, there are life for asteroids for the sprite only. And we have also speed for the sprite only. And let's go back to player. So we want to set our damage to 1, set score to 0 when the game starts, and then you want to put a repeat until loop saying movement, which is movement with this number, with the text, with the number input, I guess, and then selected run without screen refresh. And then we want to put a go to front layer because we obviously want our plane to be at the very, very front layer. And then define movement speed is also a simple key. So if key D or right arrow press, because lots of you guys use WASD and arrow keys, I have put both of them. And then A or left arrow pressed, obviously the opposite. For the D and right arrow, we want to do change X by speed, which I've inputted 8, and I think that's good. And change X by speed times -1. Basically what that'll do is just to make our planes go sideways. And obviously you don't have to set damage to 1 because it's gonna be your game. Now you need life point, which I've got 0 with nothing, 1 with the heart at the left side, 2 with the left side and middle, 3 with the full heart of 3. And then let's move on, get our variable life. You want to set your life to 30 when the game starts. Also, heart is highlighted white because the backdrop is still black. And then you want to show do repeat until size equals 60, set size to 60. And why I've put a repeat until loop there is because sometimes there was a bug, it didn't set the size properly. So I've put that there just to make sure it'll be 60, and I've put a go to this position, which is the left top corner, and after that I've put a forever loop and go to front layer, switch costume to life plus 1, because if your life is 1, it has to be that. But Scratch has this weird bug where sometimes listen to the costume name, sometimes listening to actual costume numbering. So it has to be plus 1 because if the life equals 3, which is going to be this, and you have to do plus 1 to get to 4. Which kind of makes sense but doesn't to few of you. And then you want to put if statement if life is less than 1, which means 0 or less, and we want to stop all. You guys don't have to do stop all. You guys can put like a broadcast lose or something and re-enter to the main menu or something like that. And yeah. And then let's go to Asteroid, which is basically going to be called as our enemy. And this is basically the main code. We obviously want, when green flag clicked, hide. And when I receive setup, you want to do go forward 10 layers. And put a for loop, do wait pick random 0.22 seconds, so it's going to be random when the asteroids fall on you. And you want to set its speed of falling to pick random 225, set size to a random size, set life of asteroids to round size divided by 10. What meaning is that is if the size of the asteroid's bigger, it's going to basically have more life, which kind of makes sense but also doesn't. And then finally you're going to create clone of myself. So it'll have all those stats and it's going to start falling. So when I start as a clone, there's two of them, and the first one says show. Go to negative 240 to 240. You know, it's picking the X position, so but there are different ways. For example, there are go to random position and set Y to 180. Now, these two blocks does really the exact same thing as this, but I think this is more efficient. We want to put repeat until loop or touching player spaceship or the Y position is less than negative 175. You are not supposed to do negative 180, or else the scratch maximum Y value is actually 180, so it wouldn't delete itself. You want to change Y by speed times negative 1, which is going to fall down, and then when you have finished repeating that, you want to change life by negative 1. Delete this clone. And when I start as a clone, if touching bullet, which I'm going to explain next, you want to change life of asteroid by damage times negative 1. And also, asteroids have life, so life of asteroids, if it is less than 1, which is 0 or lower, you're going to change score by 1 and delete itself. Now, let's move on to our bullet. And it is a really, really simple costume, looking just like that. It kind of looks like laser beam if you don't put a delay, but here it is. When I receive setup, you want to set size to a size you want and hide. And then put a for loop, go to front layer, go to X position of player spaceship, plus a certain value you want. I did 15, and Y of Y position of spaceship. And then you want to go to X position of player spaceship, exact opposite value of the first one, Y position of player, which is the spaceship. And then remember to put a create clone of myself between those go to. And then after the second go to, you want to put another create clone of myself, put a wait 0.1 second. What that'll do is just to make you shoot. As I said, if you don't put the wait 0.1 second, it is a laser beam. So, yeah, you will never really lose if you do this. And it kind of looks cool. But we don't want that in our game. So, you guys can do that. Or you guys can actually make it a little faster. So it kind of looks like that. Which looks cool. But, you know. I'll leave it at 0.08, and let's move on to when I start as a clone. Show, repeat until touching asteroid or touching edge. Change Y by 15. And wait 0.001 seconds because you probably want better detections. And then delete this clone. Now, that is basically it with the gameplay. But now we'll want to give some of the good parts. And the gameplay is really finished. Now the part you want to give is scrolling background, as you see. Well, let's give something like space. And it's basically just this from the Scratch backdrop. It's one of these. You will be able to find its stars right here. But you don't really want it on your background, but you want it in your sprite. Well, when we run this, it doesn't look good because it's too dark and too white. So I'm gonna put a gradient here so it'll look a lot better. And if you see, it looks a little bit better, but there are still some lines that separate it. But we don't really need to care about that. Let's move on to the code. Now what you want to do, when I receive setup, go to 0, 0, create clone of myself, set scrolling to 2.0. Oh, you don't have to do that, but yeah, just put the speed of scrolling you want there. 2.0 is good, and it'll scroll something like that. You know, it could just be like 1.0, like it could be very slow, and it's also gonna look very good. And it's still gonna look fast, actually. But slower or faster, either of them looks good. But you don't want to do something like 100 because that'll cause a bug looking like you're going to another galaxy, which is hurting your eyes. So what you want to do is just put something like 1.514 or something like that. And then you want to put a forever loop and put this code in, which is saying if else, if y position is greater than negative 340, then change y by scrolling times negative 1. So if the y position is greater than negative 340, then it's going to scroll down. If it's not, it's going to go to x of 0, y of 345. And then when I start as a clone, just basically put the exact same code. But remember, this one starts at 0, 0, this one starts at 345. And that's how these will scroll. And that is it for the tutorial. Remember to hit subscribe and like. And leave it in the comments below if you liked the video. And then I will probably come up with another episode showing you guys how to make this money system, better graphics, I guess. Or you guys could leave in the comments below what you guys want in the game, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So that's pretty much it for the episode. So see you guys in the next episode of Scratch Tutorial, and peace.